autistic people have a 6 times greater chance of committing suicide if they have an IQ of 120 or more. The average IQ in the entire population is 100. And so this study that was published on March 1st was talking about that there's genetic reasons why, at least they think, but they don't have cause and effect relationship between these. But just myself, I don't know what my IQ is. It's smarter than average. It's probably above 100. But the bottom line is that with highly functional autistic people like myself, I'm still undiagnosed. But one of the things is that because whenever I'd reach out to a psychologist or psychiatrist and sitting around one-on-one conversations, in school, talking about school problems or talking about relationship problems, they wouldn't see it. They wouldn't see my autism coming to fruition because I'm good at masking because I've had to be because I didn't have people to fall back upon to take care of me. They took care of me as a child. My parents were good, but at the same time, my parents, after I reached adulthood a little bit later and then average, they were like, you got to get things going or else you're out of this house. So, and I was out of this house anyway, but I had to get things going after that. But the bottom line is that, at least my experience is that, and from what I've read and what I've reported upon in previous episodes, is that people that are highly functional autistic people do not get the type of social services that low functioning autistic people, and they have a gradient for that. They say that a IQ of 70 or below is low functioning autism, and there's many different forms of autism, as if you've been following these episodes. So the bottom line is that, yeah, in at least all I can do is speak for me. In my world, I would I would be smarter than a lot of other people, as in intelligence, but my emotional IQ was not high. My EQ, emotional intelligence, was not where it's supposed to be, and I only started getting there late in life. And I've been investigating that and learning what, how people respond, learning about body language, because I believe that body language equals up to 80% of all communication. So it's not what you say, it's how you say it because of your tonality, and also it's how you're greeting a person and how you're opening yourself up as far as body wise to be greeting somebody or protecting yourself against somebody. And other people that are the other 97.5% of the population of all humans, they pick up on that innately. So that means that that's part of their genetic structure. That's what they grew up with from little babies. They can understand. Whereas a lot of us autistic people, we didn't pick up on that. And that served as being outcast, throwing us as outcasts. Roughly, they measure it at roughly 4 or 5 years of age. Once the kid becomes the outcast, then they start testing them for autism to figure out what's going on, how neurally challenged, how neurally divergent is the child, because there is neurodivergence. There's a spectrum in which everybody is on the spectrum, but a lot of people are on one side of the bell curve, the top end of the bell curve, which they're good, and then we're on either end, all the way down at the bottom. And so, bottom line is that A lot of us do not get the social services that we're needing. As I didn't even get tested because I'm old, so a lot of my testing was done. They just would all they did was they would hold me back or they would give me more time. And then eventually when I started going to college, late, I got tested for learning disability, in which the only thing, they said I had low processing speed, in which I think I've talked about this before, is if I'm autistic and if I have problems with visual acuity, if I have problems with absorbing too much information and not being able to process it, it isn't slow processing speed. It's actually that I'm getting way more data than anybody that a neurotypical person is getting. So my processing speed overall, yeah, may be slow, but at the same time, I'm processing a lot more information. So it'd be like trying to use your old phone on new apps. Those new apps, you may be able to force them to be downloaded onto your phone, and or they might be on the edge. But at the same time, if you need to really use that app, it's going to slow down the phone and maybe even crash it. And then you're not getting optimal usage out of your phone. You probably need a new phone, but with humans we can't upgrade. We can't just drop in a new brain or new uh, cortexes and all this brain stuff. We can't just drop new stuff in, but there are things that can help you. I will talk about those in the future about dietary supplements, because I'll just throw this one out. I'm not going to try and sell it, but it's called Lion's Mane. It helps with building more neuro connections, and it's helped me a lot. So there's a lot of things out there that I've used that have worked personally for me, and there's science to back it. So the bottom line is that we have to be careful if we're experiencing uh, immeasurable suffering because of our condition. We may, be borderline suicidal, or we may have suicidal thoughts but not want to act upon them. But at the same time, that's those type of thoughts. Either we've already had depression and anxiety, or those thoughts are causing depression and anxiety and increasing the frequency and increasing the intensity of those feelings. I might even get into talking about a feelings list, the Hoffman feelings list. I think I've talked about that in previous episodes. But the bottom line is that, yeah, it may be genes. These companies, these scientists, Carver College of Medicine, University of Iowa Healthcare, a lot of times they're looking to investigate genes. It could be a gene, but what are you going to do about your genes? You already got them. You can't get rid of them. We can't do genetic splicing on ourselves. That doesn't exist. And even if it did exist, it might be unethical to actually do it on somebody or do it on yourself. But there are a subset of doctors that they're always pushing for this gene therapy, that it's your genes. There's only 14,500 human genes, but in the what I've talked about in previous episodes, which is your microbiome. So the types of foods that you eat and the bacteria that come along with those foods and those bacteria that get fed by the food affect your mood. And there is food mood. Everybody knows it. What do you do when you feel bad and you don't want to do drugs? You go and eat some good food, and then you feel better. But if it's high sugary food, you're going to feel high, and then you're going to get that sugar crash. So a lot of times that's what people are doing. One of the things that produces natural serotonin in our brains, instead of having to take a pill, natural serotonin is carbohydrates. But if you're eating too many simple carbohydrates, your body's going to break that down, and then all of a sudden you will get a serotonin dump, but at the same time, you're going to get an insulin dump, and then all of a sudden, you're feeling great. And, it's like everybody's lunch. They go to work, they bring their lunch, they eat their lunch. If it's a bunch of sugary food along with that lunch, or if they, go to the cafeteria and they buy a bunch of sugary food and they eat that, they're good for a couple hours, but 2 o'clock comes around, and that's when you gotta eat a Snickers bar to get more sugar. But that's not the good thing. Snickers bar to get more sugar, that's only going to give you another diabetic uh, insulin spike and crash again. But by the time you're out of work and you're driving home and you're sleepy on the road, your boss doesn't care about you anymore because you're off the clock. And so then, if you're still drinking coffee at 5 o'clock at night and to stay awake, you either need to sleep more or you are having problems with insulin and having the sugar high and sugar crash. And also, that food mood will can contribute to suicidal thoughts, because you can easily get depressed if you are eating a bunch of sugar and then and then you crash, and then you don't know what's going on at work when the boss is like, "Hey, we need this deadline done," and then you're exhausted, and then you're just dumping down some more coffee, or you could be even going to illegal drugs, and then once you come down off of that, all of a sudden the depression hits. So be careful out there. So I'm gonna put a link to this, but treat yourself better, because you are a exceptional person. A lot of people don't understand. A lot of people don't appreciate, but you are exceptional, and you just got to figure out how to just tack that, how to move just a little bit to either the left or to the right, a couple degrees to the left or to the right, and you can catch the wind and you can get momentum. And so, with that, I think I made my point. And so, this is Dan, finding your hidden superpower, autism, Asperger's, and those of us who are neurodiverse. Feel good about yourself because you are exceptional. You are special in a good way. So please click, link, subscribe, tell your friends, let people know, check it out. It's free. So, and I'm not trying to sell you anything. And maybe one day I might, but right now I'm not. And I don't have any plans to do that. So just check it out. I'm just doing it to help me, because I'm looking at a mirror and I'm helping you, hopefully. So have a great day. Have a great weekend. I'll try and make some more this weekend, but life can be stressful, and this is free, and I'm trying to get it out there. So have a great day. Have a great weekend. Try and stay dry.